So, welcome back everybody to Beyond Survival, a place where we get to explore what comes beyond survival. And I'm Geraldine, your host. Kelli, my co-host.
Don't forget me this time.
And Gizmo, who's just here
hop
having
up,
a
Giz.
nice little...
Come on, baby, hop up. Hello, Gizmo.
The super host.
Yeah. And, of course, we've got Stephanie
Stephanie
Davis.
in the background.
In the background, our producer and sometimes director.
Yes, very patient, very patient.
And Girl Friday. And waitress.
And superwoman.
And superwoman.
And dominatrix.
Yeah.
Oh, don't forget I was a ghost last week as well.
Oh my God, you were so the ghost. I forgot about that.
Yeah, if you joined us last week, we had some gremlins in the system.
We did.
And
the lights kept going on and off.
So far, we don't have any gremlins today. It's been good.
Yeah. Don't invite it.
No.
Okay.
Normally do
If
that.
I want to find out where you've been, I just have to follow the bird seeds.
Really?
Yeah.
Like that?
You
A little
know?
bit. I know that.
By a little bit, and it's
You
like
don't have to tell me that.
doors left open.
Yeah.
Okay, they've been to the fridge. Okay, they've been to the microwave. Okay, they've been to the cupboard. Oh, okay, they've used Thermomix because the lid's not back on. Okay. First thing I do Sunday morning is go around and put everything back where it's meant to be.
And I'm here on Thursday, so you're still doing that on the Sunday morning.
Yeah, I just wait till all of you finish putting everything in the wrong place all week, and then I go Sunday morning. I come down, I make my coffee first, and I have my coffee first, and then I go around and put everything back where it's meant
Back
to be.
in order.
Yes.
Very good.
I do like my order, as you know.
And that is a good segue into our theme.
Do you forgive me for
The
that,
art of
Geraldine? May I ask for your forgiveness of being so anal around my house? True
But I
story.
do like it. There's a subtitle. Is it possible to know you've moved into the beyond space?
Yeah.
And that's what we really are talking about here in our vlog podcast.
Shouting out to my friend Sharon for this week.
And
Yeah.
special
It's a big
shout out
hug, a big love to Sharon.
Yeah, that's a big hug from not just Beyond Survival,
Yeah,
but Beyond Survival.
and
Yeah.
preparing for
Yeah.
survival.
That's it. In preparation for survival,
Yeah.
Sharon, you got this. You
You've
got this, sister.
girlfriend.
Yeah, you got it. All right, and so what do we? You always set the tone. So
Well, I think I need a
about
coffee.
forgiveness and
I think
stuff.
I need a coffee to start off with.
Oh my God,
Oh, yeah,
yes,
better.
please.
It has taken
yes,
us a long time to prepare today.
it has
we-
because we had a demo with my sister beforehand,
Yes.
which you'll get to see later.
was
as
fabulous.
Yeah, it was fabulous.
And we've eaten part of the...
We've eaten the food. You'll see
we've
that
eaten the
later
beautiful
as
food.
well.
We've got a little bit more beautiful
The
food
magic
to eat.
of filming and editing.
Yes, so yes, you'll
But
see
yeah,
seeing
you've
it
got
at
the
end.
coffee.
Yep.
Let's do
I've
it.
got coffee.
You've got
oh my
coffee.
gosh, we've got coffee pots and we've got this gorgeous set, Kelly's Mikasa set this week.
Yeah, so this is
I love
it. Yeah, it's the Mikasa Terra Stone set, and I've been collecting it for years, and it's my daily set that I use all the time. But probably to get all the different colours, I've probably got about 6 sets in one.
How do you
So it's
spell
quite a big set. Like, put it this way, I had it out for my 60th birthday, and there wasn't enough plates. So that tells you how much of it I've got. And it was one of the first, it came out in 1969, and it was around in the early 70s.
Sugar for you,
Yes,
Kelly?
please, two. I'm going to.
Somebody really likes their coffee.
I do. No, I really need coffee today. One of the things we're talking about today, I haven't finished this article by any means. It's just in draft. By the time I post this episode, the article I'm working on will also be posted on Subsidies. Is that enough milk for you?
Yep. I
Always
need hot
feel-
water. I need some water, actually.
Okay. Here you go.
Let's get ourselves
Hot
organised.
water?
Yes, please. Awesome.
Gizmo is still with us.
And behind we...
In the
us.
background is my sister Tracy.
Behind us.
And she has just given us a demo of the new Thermomix 7. You all know that we cook a lot of our recipes with Thermomix. And we've just had the experience of the Thermomix 7. It's absolutely brilliant. I'm amazed at how could they even make Thermo 6 better, but they have somehow. They've found a way to make it better. It's much more fluid. What do you reckon? You've got a Thermomix 6 as well, haven't
I
you?
have, and we've just had the demo by Tracy, and it was pretty groundbreaking.
Yeah, it's like it's not as loud. That's the other bit that really makes it work. And here's poor Tracy in the background. And she's just made us this amazing gluten wheat-free pasta. We all know how you like your gluten wheat-free stuff. Chicken and penne pasta with spinach and capsicum and garlic and all sorts of things. And parmesan, which we also, ground in the Thermomix. It's smelling pretty cool. And I just wanted for you to meet my sister Tracy and thank her for coming today and being part of the episode. She didn't really want to be, but I made her. So, and now we're going to actually taste it because we haven't actually tasted it yet, have we, Geraldine?
No, and
so bon appetito.
Our producer is in the background and she says it's delicious.
It is.
And we're about to find out ourselves. So thank you, Tracy.
You're welcome. How easy was that to make?
It was
Oh my God, that's so
God,
good.
it's amazing.
Oh my God, that's so good. We didn't eat breakfast because we were saving ourselves for this for lunch. And we also made in the good old Thermomix 6, which is still brilliant, in the corner you can see under the dome. This time I had some spare apples, so we made apple cupcakes, really. Kind of somewhere between cupcake and muffins, and again, they're all gluten wheat-free recipes. And we've already had some yesterday, and they're absolutely delicious. But you've got to heat them a little bit. But we'll put the recipes, as always, on the Substack, and the link will be in the description of YouTube. And we wanted just to thank Tracy again, even though she's not paying any attention to us at all. Thank you, Tracy, for coming and showing us what the new Thermo 7 can do. It's really, really, really good and really delicious. Bon appetito.
Yeah.
And if you'd like any more information, please reach out.
Yes.
I'd love to help you.
If you leave a comment and you want to if you're a local, if you're in Australia, anywhere, can you
Anywhere.
Anywhere,
Contact me
okay.
from anywhere.
Okay.
I'd love to help you.
Excellent. So I'll put the link into Tracy so that if you guys are interested in having a demo yourself or you just want to talk to her on the phone about it, you can just press the link and it'll take you through to her webpage.
And this was
This is so good.
the
Marry me chicken. As you
The
girls
sauce is
said,
so
could be
creamy.
marry me chicken.
It's the marry me.
I said as soon as Tracy said, marry me chicken, I said, Trace, can we call it Mary chicken me? And she's looking at me like I'm a weirdo. And I said, Steffi's just been through a divorce. Literally the divorce was finalised 2 weeks ago. I think we can leave the word marry out.
We can laugh at this end.
We can laugh at this end. Steffi had a good laugh about it, didn't you, Steph?
I did, yes.
And now we're just going to ignore you for a minute while we finish our food. So we'll come back to you.
We're very hungry.
When we finish, we're very hungry, so we'll come back to you as soon as we've finished our lunch. We'll come back to you and we'll start our podcast. Today's subject is Geraldine. What's the tone again for today?
The art of forgiveness.
Oh, that's it.
Very hard to say with a mouthful of food.
I can always turn it off.
And that kind of leads into, if we're going to elevate ourselves any further, or when you're going through a difficult situation. And the reason why I called it the art of forgiveness is because I believe that everything starts first with forgiveness. No healing can begin or happen. No transformation can happen if all parties can't first forgive. So it starts with forgiving, and that's why I say it's the art of forgiveness, because forgiveness is more about for us than it is for the other person. But there is an art in it. It's not an easy thing to do if you've been particularly, had a heinous sort of situation.
Yes.
By life.
Tracy's getting up, she's leaving the building.
Oh my God.
Stephen did that to us once, do you remember? All right. And Jacinda Ardern, who was a New Zealand Prime Minister, and she was quite innovative and quite young. She was only 37 when she became Prime Minister, and I think she, very shortly after that, she fell pregnant. And it was their first child. So she had to go through this amazing experience, being pregnant. Then how do you manage a baby if you're Prime Minister of, a country? She was an extraordinary politician and an extraordinary person.
At an extraordinary time.
At an extraordinary time. And unfortunately in New Zealand at the moment, they're not extreme sort of, authoritarian sort of style Prime Minister in New Zealand, but I would say maybe not extreme right, but definitely getting close to the edge. And that's who sort of, took power just recently there. But she just launched a book, which is called A New Kind of Power, about leadership. Are people in powerful positions able to lead from a position of empathy and compassion? It's how she led New Zealand, and she was well loved and still loved today by her people. She's currently living in... I have mentioned her book before. I had done a quick kind of, skim of the book. Now I'm listening to it kind of a couple times over and really sort of getting into it. But she is now currently living in the States. So she's doing a lot of interviews and stuff about the launch of her book with a few different podcasts. I kind of caught that. Anyway, recently, the last 6 weeks, I've been following the money on Russia, China and America and trying to find the connections between all of them and whether they've all kind of, I have these suspicions that, it's a Kelli theory, of course, that, they've been negotiating this for a long time, for 2 years before, and I think that definitely Trump was the pack. So I think they lined him up to, definitely Putin lined him up through Stephen Miller to be destructive in America, like break America down and recreate it in your own likeness. And there was an article written by Jonathan Rauch, which we discussed a few episodes ago, didn't we? Yeah. And I was absolutely enamoured with this article he wrote about patronymus, and I thought, that's it, he's 100% right. And I just had also listened to this amazing interview with Gillian Tett, who is, one of the directors at Financial Times, and she's also an anthropologist, and that combination of finance and anthropology I thought was a really unique, and economics was a really unique combination. She was absolutely amazing. It was one of the best interviews I've ever seen. And she gave a more measured sort of approach to what she thought was happening in America. But right at the end of the interview, if you get a chance to watch it on Ezra.
I did watch it.
It's brilliant. So everyone I say, God, you have to watch it. They all say the same thing. That's absolutely brilliant. She really is quite succinct in the way she presents what she thinks is happening. She's very measured with it, very bipartisan in her approach. But right at the end of the interview, when Ezra asks her, how do you think this will end, or what and she said, well, it's genuinely very scary. Right up to that point, she's quite bipartisan and quite sort of measured with the way she approaches it, but in the end, what she is actually thinking is that we're in a very scary time. And then to see several days ago the so-called summit that happened in China and that they invited Putin. So first we've got Putin going to, I think it was his double that went and saw Trump, and I think that's why the lunch didn't happen and that interview didn't go for so long, and the press conference didn't work out the way that it was planned, and no talks about peace in Ukraine was discussed, even though it was called, what was it called? What did they call it? Something for peace? It's some sort of forum for peace, but it was all on the banners behind on the press conference. It was just, like I thought I was going to a movie or something.
Absolutely tuned out to that, because as significant as it is, I guess, I'm trying to think, why have I tuned out? It is obviously a lot of chaos making. And
well, he's always doing the distraction stuff.
And it's distraction. And I can't even give it mental energy anymore.
No, and but what it was for me was the pointer of just shortly after Trump had broken all the international laws by having Putin come to Alaska and do that meeting, which never really happened. I understand why Modi's doing what he's doing, because Trump was so heinous to him that he said, screw you, we're going here. And so he was invited and he was there as well. So the three of them are all buddy-buddies sort of, and I could see what was playing out, and I thought definitely Putin and Xi Jinping, maybe because they're part of the BRICS program, all of these countries. And I've been talking about BRICS for a while now, and everyone's saying, that's nothing's really come of that. But what I know about Asian culture is that they know how to play the long game. So if they set something up, make no mistake, they're going to follow it up sooner or later at some point. And I feel like this is the later bit.
We all need to be playing the long game.
Yes, but this is they do it for more heinous reasons, right?
Yes, exactly.
So,
well, I don't know that actually for sure, because look at what is actually playing out on the planet. And I'll weigh in a little bit.
Well, that's what I talk about in my article.
Yeah, it's a great article again.
It's still in draft form, guys.
Yes, it's not
so
really, but
she had to suffer and read it in draft form.
Look, the bones of it are very good.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I guess now I'm kind of losing my train of thought. But
Well, I was talking about the fact that 3 of them met, right? And they're pretty much making a deal. But because they're all members of this BRIC, and I think Trump probably wanted America to be part of BRICS rather than, NATO. I think that was the change he was looking for. I think that they sat and negotiated, a good 2 years beforehand, not necessarily including Xi Jinping, because I don't think Trump has a good relationship with him and doesn't particularly like him, is my feeling on it. I don't have anything necessarily to back that except the heinous way he behaves with him, but with the tariffs he does that to everybody really. But he would never do that to Putin, say, for example. But he has done it with Xi Jinping, he has done it with Modi, and so there they all are, buddy and hugging and stuff. That's scary shit for the rest of the world, because there's a lot of power just in those 3 countries, both economically and military-wise. So, yes, America, if it wasn't run by Trump, would still be, even with all those forces put together, America would be still the superpower, and, especially on a military level, right? But with Trump running it...
No longer.
No.
They don't have the trust, the world trust. And I guess that was before I lost my trail of thought.
Okay.
Actually, I would, as an Australian, trust China over the US.
No, and I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
And I was with you on that.
Also,
I was with you on that until 3 days ago. And when I saw him cozying up to Putin, I thought, I don't know whether we can trust you anymore, because what Putin wants is to divide up the world, right? And he played Trump and got Trump to do make America weak so that we can do what we need to do. And then we'll divide the world up between us and go back to the patrimonialism style of governing. Now, I agree on one thing, that the world governing needs to change. We can't continue in the way we've been doing for the last 100 years. It's quite clear to me, and it has been for the last 30 years, that time is over. The time of empires, or this particular empire, the American empire, it's already on its way, regardless of what happens to it. Even if he died tomorrow, that will continue on, and it'll take 20 to 30 years before the repairs of that can be done. And it'll be a similar story maybe, and I was reading an article from JVL from the Bulwark this morning about this as well, as part of my research for this article I wrote. I made a reference to it, I think. And he was talking about, look, if we get lucky, if the best outcome, we might be able to do what the UK did when their empire collapsed, that we might be able to come back quietly in a more... What was the word he used? I can't remember now, but it was sort of suggesting in a more quiet, measured, respectful... when you get the rug pulled out from underneath you, and you've got to make your way back to whatever it is that you failed at, you're a little bit more humble. There's a little bit more humility in the comeback, right? So I think he was suggesting that that's his hope is, in the very best possible situation, we can make our way back gracefully in the same manner that Britain did. Although, we only need to look at UK at the moment, and they still are suffering the consequences of not just Brexit, but also they were still just in the repair mode from the collapse of their empire. And that was, 60 years later or something? Wasn't it really? Economically, then the Brexit just made the economic kind of recovery, put it on hold. And
so is that why?
And Carney was the one who told them, he was at the time working in the banks over there, and he said, don't do it, this will ruin your country. And he was right. He was 100%. That's why I like Carney. I think he thinks outside the square. He has a different approach. He has a much more, I don't know, he's just a good guy. And there's not, whenever I can find a good poly, I like to celebrate the fact that we've got a few good polys in the world. But I do think the whole governing system does have to change, but definitely not in the manner and in the likeness of what Xi Jinping, Modi and Putin, and the way that you just could see that BRICS may become very real very soon. And this prompted me to write this article because at the same time I've been, doing the audiobook of A Different Kind of Power, which is literally the polar opposite to what these guys are trying to do through BRICS, right? And I thought, how does that play out? How can that, can leaders who come from a place of empathy and compassion, is it powerful enough? Is it sustainable enough to stand up to the more draconian, regime style, authoritarian style, autocratic style, patrimonialism style, whatever you want to call it? They all have their factions within factions of that, I think. There's not a clear picture. You couldn't say that China is now completely a Commonwealth, Commonwealth, I wish it was a Commonwealth country.
Capitalist.
No, they've actually used the capitalism and the democracy of that within their favour to continue to be a communist country. So they haven't let go of being a communist country, but I don't think they're the regime. They're close to it in some of the things they do. I mean, they definitely get rid of people that, they disappear people that they are causing problems for them. But Putin's quite...
Indigenous people, etc.
Yeah, anybody that gets in the way. But...
Why is this happening over and over, that Indigenous people...
Because Indigenous people are a threat to authoritarian people, because they're the real deal. Essentially, if you look at even Australian Indigenous have been on this planet for 65,000 years. You don't think that they know a little bit more than what we do about what's the right way forward for humanity? So my question in the article was, can this style of governing that Jacinda Ardern has done in New Zealand, which was successful at doing, but it's a small country, it's much easier to manage 3.5 million people than it is a country with 360 million, say in the case of America, or in our case even 27 million. It becomes far more complex. And why I make reference to Gillian Tett is because of her anthropological understanding of economics. It plays into the politics of it all, I feel. And I also have been following the money, as I said, and I'm getting a bit lost with it. It's very complex and very layered, and so many factions within factions that I feel like I need to sit down with a few economists, maybe at UWA, and just say, walk me through this. This is what I'm feeling. This is what I'm seeing. This is what I'm reading. But you walk me through this on an economic kind of scale. And is it possible? I don't know. I don't know whether it's possible for that style of governing. Certainly not in today's political temperature. Would it? Is it? I don't know. Is it too early to try and enforce? Let's say all democratic countries across the planet. Those who are really kind of, whether they're light on democracy. Well, India's supposed to be a democratic country, but obviously they've got other older, more traditional kind of, issues in there with the tiering kind of, like,
apparently the caste system, which was
the caste system,
is actually... Interestingly,
I think
not so good for them is that they're regressing. I've been told recently.
Yes, they have. They've been regressing, and also, which is disappointing. But they saw themselves more as a democracy probably in the last 20 years, because for the very first time India was creating a middle class, which is how a democracy survives. You have to have a middle class for it to survive. Otherwise, you're always going to have those below the poverty belt and those who are so extreme. That is the biggest threat across the planet. And this is what disappearing. And this is or
being disappeared.
Yeah, and this is what all these autocratic societies want, right? Wait.
You do it just
yeah, but it's okay. Wait, just wait. All these autocratic societies, that's precisely why I think, that's exactly what they wanted. Why they disappear Indigenous, anybody who can stand in the way of that style of power, their way of power, their preferred measure of power, is they want to get rid of them.
They're also traditionally the custodians of land.
Yes.
Indigenous people. And it's our way of seeing land as a resource.
Yes.
And it's a problem.
Well, it's a bit like what Putin does. Even all those billionaires that gave up a third of their fortune, just hang on a sec, gave up a third of their fortune to get a seat at the table, right, in the Kremlin, which he did. But he has no problem disappearing them. Suicide, jumped off the balcony, bullshit. I call that bullshit. He kills them off, and then he takes their money. So this last guy who was very close and very loyal to him, he killed him off because he was running out of money for the war. Now I know that's simplistic terms that I'm talking in, right? And there might not be. I think everybody knows though, right? Even if you can't back it up with evidence, and even if it could be proved in a court of law, say somewhere down the track, the Russian people turned on Putin and said, "We're going to prove this in the court of law that you." Not only a war criminal, that you also murdered all these your own people for the sake of money to continue this war, right? Hopefully that will happen down the track, but we don't know. Would Russian people stand up to it? I don't think so.
So, why I'm kind of going, oh my God, Russia. Look at what's happening here in WA.
Yeah.
I mean, with the Alcoa, with mining of forests.
Yes.
We seem to be quite backward. But aren't they
backwards all over the world with this stuff?
Yeah, exactly. But that's why I'm just saying it's not other. That's kind of othering that it's all a problem over there.
Yeah, no.
It's a problem right here, isn't it?
What I'm suggesting is that because all of a sudden the Trump administration gave all the autocratic societies or countries across the planet permission to be out loud and proud. But, so what it's done is any bullies in the world or who are on board with their kind of thinking, it gave them permission to be out loud and proud. So that's why, on one hand, that's a great thing because it unearths it and we get to see, okay, I know who you are now, I know how you think, and I can deal with that, and we can actually have the conversation with them maybe. But even if you can't have the conversation with them, at least you know who everybody is now. Which side of the fence are you leaning? If we take that into a more spiritual kind of arena, like Jacinda, she was, raised a Mormon, and so she had that.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, interesting. And she struggled with it, like when she became an adult and she got interested in politics and everything, she had to do the negotiating with it all, but it gave her some good values, is what she says in her book, as far as how to approach leadership from a more compassionate, empathic place, and that's not a bad thing to have. So even if you're not a religious person, that's it, her concept of leading with empathy and compassion, I think, is a great one, and she proved that it was doable in a smaller country. The question is that I'm asking, is it doable on a wider scale? Is it something that we can fight this onset of autocratic societies, and therefore within each society, including our own, or each culture, including our own, you have people who agree with all of these autocratic people, dictators, who agree with the dictators.
Well, I think it's because the world is a complex place.
Well, it's a world of contrast.
And
it's 50-50. It's never been 50-50 before. This is the first time in the last 100 years it's been 50-50, where it's 50% of people are for democracy and 50% of people are for dictatorship style or autocratic style. That's what I think. And that's the dilemma we face, is because at the moment we don't know who's going to win. Who's going to have the final say? We don't know. Because at the end of the day, that comes down to we the people. We decide. But is there enough of us who wish to have leaders who lead more from an empathic and I would say authenticity as well, because that's what has been missing in politics for the last 40 years. They got so used to just spitting rhetoric, even the good pollies, that it felt like it was puppet sort of politics, that no one was being innovative and thinking for themselves. That's why I like Carney, and that's why I like Barack Obama. They brought a new flavour, and Jacinda Ardern, they brought a new flavour. We don't see that very often anymore, Geraldine. You think about in the last 40 years.
Well, I'm just thinking about the layers that we're putting, just even to do a podcast.
Yes.
Where we're putting our points across, which are valid. But there's this kind of idea that everyone's putting their points across. Yeah. But are we really speaking to one another? Are we really meeting?
Not at this point.
Are we really? Well, are we even really meeting? And
not at this point. I don't think
even in the same room, basically.
No, because I think what happens in the first place is you first have to. Everybody's doing their own individual. Well, I hope everybody's doing their own individual take on it and having a look inwards as well as outwards.
Yeah.
And then you can come to the table after you've done your own business with it, and you have to know where you sit with it all and be quite clear about how you see things before you come to the table. And then when you come to the table to talk to people who perhaps are opposite end of the spectrum, that's where forgiveness comes in. Because often when we go to a table like that and it's a negotiating table, you don't think all those guys that joined together, even though they were all on the same, like I'm thinking of my, like Trump and NATO and that kind of meeting, those meetings, and then Trump and Putin just recently, and then now you've got Modi, Trump and Modi and Putin and Xi Jinping. They would all be sitting down having their own versions of it and having debates about no, my way is better, right? Because everybody thinks their way is best or right.
Yeah.
And that's where forgiveness comes in. You have to be able to forgive someone for their bad behaviour towards you. And they would have all behaved badly towards each other at some point over the years before you can even start having the conversation.
I'm just wondering about...
Because otherwise you're still having...
people.
I'm talking about the real conversation. You can sit at a table and negotiate from a place of, so-called illusionary power and power over, but they all think they're the most powerful countries in the world and the most powerful... They all think they're right. So even when they're negotiating with each other, it's hardcore, So where do you go from there? And could something... And I'm going to ask you this question. What's your opinion about the way that Jacinda led, which was, I think, magnificent, but do you think that would survive in the world as we see it today? Would it have a voice?
Well, it does.
Do you? Do you think it does on a larger scale, though? On smaller scales, I can understand. Because it takes years to change culture.
Well, you look at... I saw a beautiful map of the US being surrounded by a change of government towards more progressive. You look at the Mexican president, the female president, who...
Yeah, she's brilliant. Yeah, she's also brilliant.
Name is Claudia.
Claudia. If you don't know, how the hell am I going to know? I'm not good on names.
Anyway, there are Canada, all around the US.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
There's
That's
like
true.
a displacement. So wherever there is a regression, there is progression. So it really is almost like a compassionate
Jordan,
hug.
you sound like me today.
A compassionate hug around what is happening with
You're
the heart that's really being beaten up.
Yeah.
The US heart really is being beaten up.
Yeah.
And, the things that were as foundation.
When did we change roles? When did you start becoming the optimistic one and I became the pessimistic one?
Well, I mean, I don't know. It's just the stuff that comes to across my table.
Yeah, but it is. I think for me, I don't know. Every now and then you get thrown over the edge and you think, and you lose hope again, and that's what's happened to me this week, seeing that meeting that happened in China.
And what is happening with the Mexican president is she is embracing the Indigenous people.
Yes.
And I don't know actually what's happening in Canada.
Yeah, and that's also what Jacinda
there's
did
a
in New
rise
Zealand.
of the Indigenous, yes.
Because she could see that there were some authoritarian style politicians on the ticket, on the shadow government, and she could see that they were trying to eliminate the treaty, to
and in Australia on the referendum where Australians apparently voted compellingly no to Indigenous being included in the Constitution and having,
which is just so stupid. But it was not a good model. I get it. I get why it didn't get through, and we don't have a good record.
That's why it didn't get through, though. I don't think that's why it didn't get through. I don't think many people really knew what.
No, true. But I do think that those who did read it and those who did understand it said. It's a bit like when we wanted to separate ourselves from the Commonwealth, right? And the Queen being our head of like with that we're not very good in Australia with referendums. We have a history of voting no in any referendum.
Yeah, so it was a very hard one.
It was a thin wedge to start with. It was like if we were hopeful, we're always hopeful, but truthfully, I would have been surprised if it had gone through.
Well, yeah, I must admit, I could read the room anyway, but I don't know that it was that many people really understood, how strong the model was or not so strong.
No,
I think
but
it was more the misinformation.
Yeah, but
what
what I'm suggesting is even the people like me who did read through it, and there would have been, there would have been a good percentage of.
There's a lot of people who said, yes, we know it's not perfect, but we need to work.
That's
on a
what I
working
said,
model.
but I'm just saying, even with that knowledge, I was still sceptical because I knew it wasn't the perfect model, but I also knew, just the same as I voted yes on the referendum with the royal stuff, right? Because you have to start somewhere. That's always my philosophy. Even though it's not the perfect model, you can't wait for something to be perfect before you get on with it. You just have to start with the imperfect model and you improve it as you go. That's my take on it. That's my belief in it. So yes, I agree with you. I mean, and I would always vote yes in that sort of vein. But I can understand why a lot of people I know many people in my own urban tribe, who said no, I'm voting no because I don't agree with the model, and they educated people. So there were people who did that. So that's all I'm pointing out, really. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying it is. It just is. So yes, you're always going to, because in Australia it's compulsory for us to vote on any of these things. You get fined if you don't. There's a lot of people who aren't interested in.
It's good that we're a part of our.
I do. I think it's fantastic, but there's a lot of people who
politics.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who are not interested in politics in any way, shape, or form, and they often they vote whoever their parents voted and don't even give it a second thought. And even if you have a conversation with them, they say, "Oh no, I'm not interested in politics. I don't need politics." Aren't you interested in what's going to happen to the country? And that's, that is still a bit of a problem because, that's a greater percentage than those who are interested. Or you get the middle ground people
that's true.
who kind of vote from a very small amount of information coming to them via network TV. That's it.
Yes, that's
right. As a minimal amount.
It's huge.
And so they're hearing taglines. And they're voting on taglines rather than the truth behind those taglines.
Yep.
So, and I don't know how you get past all that because you can't make someone be interested.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I watched Foreign Correspondent again this week because they were interviewing Australians in the US. Some people might have seen the show. It's well worth watching.
Oh, yeah, Australians in the US voting for... are they still happy that they voted Trump? That one? Yeah, I watched that last night too.
It's good.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Because it was recorded a while ago. I remember watching it once, and it came up in my feed again. So I thought, well, I'll just watch it again because
I thought it was just freshly released this week.
No.
Anyway,
yes, they did. It's two-part series.
Did you find overwhelmingly that Australians in the US really were over diplomatic and really didn't say what they felt? That they really had to mince their words. Did you notice that? I mean, I can understand it. I think
there was a bit of both, to be honest.
Even the cowboy who'd been there for a very long time and was, had made his name as a rodeo rider and made good money, and he's said to be quite comfortable.
I was thinking about the husband and wife in the bar where he was American and she was Australian.
Yes.
And she, at the end of it all, even though she's disappointed with all that stuff, she said in the end, she still said, I'd still vote for him again.
Yes. And the couple that had...
Even though,
flooring company, floor company, they really couldn't say what they felt. There was no heart in what they was... They had to be very guarded about what
I was also about to say they had to be very guarded because at the moment they've got this problem of all this, they were walking through the warehouse and they had all the stock on the shelves and everything and
the
how...
whole thing, I just found it very disturbing.
But more recently, I know he's going to appeal it, but it depends on the Supreme Court what they do with it, but what's just happened recently in America, which I don't know whether you know or not, the courts have, all the federal courts within the individual state system, not the Supreme Court, have ruled that the tariffs that Trump has, put in place are not legal and must be removed immediately. And not only must they be removed immediately, the $500 billion that has already been collected from those tariffs must be paid back to those people.
Oh my goodness, okay.
So, however, of course they've appealed it, and of course it's got to go to the Supreme Court. Now,
it's just a game.
I can't believe that the Supreme Court will still continue, or I hope that won't still continue to support Trump because he's also going after the law. So you think that, okay, maybe there's two on the Supreme Court that will still, come high or hell leather, they will stay with Trump, right? But you're hoping that the other 7 will wake up and go like they did with with Garcia. What's his name again? Sorry, Garcia.
I don't know.
No, he's the one that got sent to Salvador, and he was from Maryland, and then he's been put back there. Now they're talking about.
You do the US commentary because I just
he's
as
getting.
I said, for very good reasons.
Agago Garcia. So you all know I have struggled. It's part of my brain that was damaged through some medication. That part of my memory brain.
It's got a very
names.
good brain, really.
But just on names.
Just names,
I used to be able to remember names. I was very good at remembering people's names and things, but anyway, that little part of my brain was damaged, so I find it hard for whatever reasons. So forgive me for that. But you all know who I'm talking about, and he has and so now the Trump administration lawyers have said, well, we're going to send him to, I can't even remember the place it was, but basically he doesn't speak that language. Anyway, the bottom line is, to bring it back to what this episode is about, everything starts with forgiveness. Now we're talking on not just an individual level, that has to happen on an individual, but a global level. And is it only something that can be achieved in hindsight, or can we achieve that throughout the process of negotiation, whether you're doing it on a smaller, private, one-on-one level, or you're doing it on a national level or a global level? I think the question is the same. Is it, again, this is why I started looking into how would Jacinda's style of governing, how would it play out in the world? Is it even possible? Would it be sustainable? Would it have enough juice is there enough people on the planet that care enough to bring these autocracies down, to bring these dictators down through having leaders like Carney, right? I don't know why I keep pointing to him, but I think at the moment he's probably one of the best leaders that we've got politically in the world. He's sort of offers hope, like Jacinda offered hope. I think he's the new hope. Like Obama offered hope. We need someone who's going to show us a hopeful way out of this.
Well, I do definitely believe that the creatives are your musicians, your artists, your poets, your gardeners, your cooks, your people who are creative.
Yeah, but
mindset.
How many of those, Geraldine, vote? Because there's many creatives I know. If you're not living in a country where it's compulsory vote like we are, they don't have to vote. And my experience is, because I'm connected to artists all over the world, as you know, in different cultures and different types of
I don't know
governing.
any artists that don't vote. Do you know?
Oh my God, yes, I do. I know artists that deliberately. I remember most of the artists that I hang out with are political artists, and sometimes they use it as they use their art to have a voice. But some of them are so, you feel like you're choosing the lesser of the two evils all the time. And that's been like that for 20 years in Europe and here in Australia, in America. And so because there's a level of corruption in every politician, I think, at the moment, and in the system itself, right? So even if they go in with good intentions, they get caught up in the system.
Anyway, I'm not talking about artists that vote.
No.
I'm not talking about creating and being creative.
No, I'm saying that.
And
there's no guarantee that all creators are going to be voters across the planet. I'm talking about a planetary change here going on. So I don't trust that there's enough creatives that can combat the other side.
Yeah. Well,
I would be putting a call out to all creatives across the planet. If you have never voted or registered to vote or whatever, now's the time to do it, guys. Now's the time to do it, because even no matter, because the people I'm talking about that I know would have used it as a protest. I'm not voting because I'm not voting for the lesser of the two evils. I don't want to vote for anyone who's just because they're the lesser of the two evils. And I get where they're coming from on that.
I do too, because I really am struggling to believe in the system that we're living under, and I know that we need critical change on the planet.
Well,
that's why I'm saying from the grassroots, and I agree.
Well, this is what this article's about and why I wrote it. Is it possible? I don't know. I don't have an answer to that question fully yet. I think of course, everything's possible, but what would it take to have enough leaders of compassion and empathy, as Ardern was, across the planet? How many of those are available in the political world or arena? As you know, there's even like if you look at Cory Booker, right, in the United States, fabulous guy, gorgeous, presents well, speaks well, has been in the political system, I think, most of his career, and he's the one that did the filibuster for 52 hours, and his name, he's gorgeous. His name is Cory Booker.
Yeah. Okay. So what did he do?
He did a filibuster in what would be equivalent to in Congress or in the Senate. It was in the Senate. A filibuster is when they stand up and take up all the space and time, and everybody gives their time to them so that they can. And he broke the record. That he went to 52 hours on his feet, and then he might sit down for a few minutes. Mm-hmm. And somebody else will fill that space, so everybody gives their time freely to that person because it's a form of protest.
Right. Okay.
Did it make any difference on the ground level in the kind of legal sort? No, probably not. Did it make a difference in making him presidential material? Probably not. I absolutely adore him, but I do agree with others that he's not necessarily presidential material. Okay. But what he did was significant on how it played out with the general public of offering another form of hope.
Right.
If we can't see hope through some of our politicians, we are so freaking screwed. Notice I use freaking.
Yeah.
Well, that's why, and I'll keep coming back to Gaza, is, I almost didn't want to do this podcast this week because of what's going on there.
Yeah.
Is just so devastating.
Yeah.
So devastating. One of the Gazans that I'm following is Bazan, who's reporting, and
because at the end of the day, Netanyahu couldn't give a hoot. This was his plan all along.
So why I'm saying.
So how do you combat that?
Well, this is what I'm saying is, Bazan, because as I say, the only thing they have is a camera, and the people across the planet put money in so that they, can continue to, televise the genocide. Yeah. And Bazan...
well, it's officially been named genocide now. That was yesterday.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. But I mean, it's a name, it's just devastating. And the reason why I'm saying that is if the people in that place have given up hope, because, they've been dealing with this for a very long time, and to be so pulled apart, so bombed, starved, the whole thing basically annihilated. Yeah, Bazan just very simply posted, her driving around, and she's very much looked after the people and valued because they know of the important role that she has, and she hasn't been murdered yet, but her last post was her literally just driving around. You can just see the hopelessness in her eyes.
Yeah.
And to me, they are the hope of the planet in the sense of people being annihilated deliberately in front of the world's eyes.
Let me ask you this question just on an intuitive level. Do you think that Gaza is going to survive this, that Palestinians will survive this? Do you think there will be a race of Palestinians in Gaza after this?
Well, one of the chances we are all Palestine, and we could also say we are all Israel,
No, I get that from a philosophical point of view, but I'm talking about very much on the ground level. We know what's going on. We know that Netanyahu, like Putin, is not going to stop until he achieves his means, which is basically genocide, because if he genocides them, he gets to keep the land, he gets to make, he doesn't have to go to a two-state solution. And he's already said that he won't, and he's not. He doesn't care what the rest of the world is saying. He said that quite clearly in his last, print media press release. And so my question to you, knowing at the ground level this is what we're dealing with, it's the same thing that Ukraine is dealing with in Putin. Putin will not stop until someone stops him. The only way you stop Putin is either you've got to cut the snake off at the head, full stop,
Exactly.
or the people, the Russian people, have to get mad enough and angry enough to take him down, as there has happened in other regimes. And we know that how quickly that can happen. It can be all over Red Rover within 6 weeks after 47 years of occupation, right? So that's the only hope for the Ukraine people. What's your version of that for Netanyahu and Israel and Gaza?
It's the big idea that capitalism is killing our planet, and that actually we're all
speaking to that a
genociding.
little bit more, what you mean by that?
Well, our system is very much set
Because
up.
I'm not against capitalism, but I understand the problems that come with it.
No, and it's
always about intent.
Yeah, I guess it's,
Like everything, it's intent.
and it's a mixture, exactly,
Yeah.
because with that colonialism and imperialism, all of those isms, we're getting very serious. I know it's
a sense of false righteousness.
Exactly. But we do have...
It makes us feel as if we're better than, and it puts everybody else in the other position.
That's my perspective, Cal. We're part of the machine.
We are, but we don't have to be. You can. What I'm saying is, it's always about intent. It's like money. There's nothing evil about money. It's a fucking piece of paper or a digital number on a screen, right? But people put so much effort into saying money is the root of all evil, and that's coming from the big biblical terms first, which is wrong in the first place. As we know, religion and state don't belong anywhere in the same room together. But what happens with that is that, again, we're dealing with people from extreme positions of my way is right. How do we overcome the need for everyone's need to be right? If we break it down, is it more about being heard? Everybody knows the story about Hitler. Every artist knows the story about Hitler, that he applied 3 times and got rejected, and that's how he ended up in World War I and joining the army. And then he saw it through politics, and I do think art and politics are very closely related. So I can see his transition into that's a pathway for me. But if we just let him into art school, would it have played out differently? Maybe there would have been another dictator who would do what he tried to do, right? And the same goes for Trump. If his father had just given him the respect that he needed, or just given him the love or whatever, and I'm not saying that's an excuse. I want to go like that and say there's a lot of people who have had a lot worse than you, Mr. Donald Trump, and they didn't go out and annihilate a country because of it, right?
Yeah, well, that's right. There's people...
So it comes down again to the individual and therefore the collective intent.
Yeah.
Nothing is evil until we make it evil, until we put the
and
power
I'm not
of
saying
evil
that
behind
capitalism is all evil, but it is a very well-worn machine that has to take over.
We need change.
That has to take over and cause trouble in another country and annihilate the Indigenous people. I mean,
because that's all the same. We know the reasons why they do that.
Well, we're living in a country where there was
we did
massacres.
it. We did it.
And actually Australia's really only just starting to come to terms with the full impact of that.
Well, we're going to seriously still have to do it. We still have to we're doing the business now, but we're a long way off. And also, not only that, we have to make amends. We haven't made amends yet. We said sorry. Big fucking deal. Sorry, Stephanie. Big freaking deal. I'll edit it out. We have not yet.
I didn't get the memo not to swear. I'm not a swearer.
Well, no, you don't. That's it. I'm the one.
Occasionally I do.
I'm not usually a swearer, but these subjects make me so mad that I feel like there's no
milk, Kel.
I feel like these
very strong.
I feel like these.
Awesome. Coffee.
I know, but I need more milk.
Oh no, it's my style of coffee though. I like the very strong coffee.
So we're talking about hope.
Okay, we're trying to talk about hope. That's what the article's meant to be, but now sitting here talking about it, that's why I said to you it's an unfinished article because it's only in draft form.
For me, the whole situation in Gaza has opened my eyes up to the way that the world is being operated.
Yeah.
And the facts are that there is, that Britain, Australia, US have closed rank on Palestinian people. And the closing of the ranks is about resources and, like everything, follow the money.
Yes, conversation with. But I do think you're right. I do think that it starts first by The money will show you all the things that have happened to get to where we are today. But we're going to go back, seriously, we're going back 30, 40 years.
Well, basically, British oil company found the Palestinians have been trying to sell their gas to British oil companies
Right.
for 30 years.
Right.
And it really is a slaughter over fossil fuels.
Oh, yeah.
And really, as a planet, we should be
people
far
who are
beyond
into
this.
power and power over. That's all
Still talking about fossil fuels.
Yeah, well, because that's what
Are we still-
that gives them the power. Why do you think Trump wanted to turn all the pipes on again, all the drills on again? You know, drill baby drill.
Yeah.
Because, you know, in their mind, that gives them unlimited power, and with the wokeness and, you know, climate change, they can see that slipping away from them. And then I sort of thought, well, the economy's collapsing anyway, guys, on a world level. The old system of capitalism is collapsing whether you like it or not. It's not just one empire collapsing here, it's the whole financial system around the world that will collapse from this one.
And our world is
Then how do we
finite.
come back from that? What does it look like post-collapse?
Was it worth killing all those people?
No, never. Never. But they don't care, Geraldine.
Yes, I know, but I guess that's
This is
a lot of people are waking up to this.
Yes,
now.
they're waking up, but also that's not the way to fight these guys, right? Because you can mimic them, and I appreciate what Gavin Newsom's doing in mimicking all Trump's madness to show MAGA people, this is how mad your president looks, or your leader looks. But it's not going to change the way Trump behaves. He couldn't give a hoot.
Yeah, but
So what I'm trying to say is, you're talking about all these power plays going on in the world in an autocratic or dictator manner. You cannot, none of what we say or do is going to change their mind, because they know that if they're not going to change their minds. They are who they are. They believe in what they are. They want what they want. And there's no fighting that directly. Shaming them's not going to work. Exposing them's not going to work. So how do we stop it? I don't know. I get into, that's where I was last night. I'm like,
from the ground up. It is from the ground
it is
up.
from the ground up, but that's a cultural shift at millennial level. So how do we do that?
Well, it is happening. It is happening.
I hope you're right. I've lost a bit of faith this week. I'm
Ah.
sorry, guys. After I
Yeah.
saw the stuff that went down in China recently, and that Putin was there and they're all hugging each other, I just lost a bit of faith. I have always been a great believer in, you know, eventually democracy will win in the end, or a version of it. I think the governing system across the planet will need to change, and I don't know what that looks like. Hence why I'm investigating what Jacinda Ardern's saying, because it's the first time I've seen anyone talk into it a little bit from a different perspective. But I did. I thought, I don't know how we deal with these. That's a powerful cell that's being created via BRICS now. There was a lot of other leaders in that so-called summit as well. That's real adversary to NATO, and NATO's falling apart. So what have we got? I don't think that the coalition of the willing is ready yet to fight that kind of power.
Well, as you were saying, humility. will
How are you
change
going to get
things.
these guys to feel humility?
The
They're
same,
never going to.
Unfortunately, for them, it may be. We obviously.
Now, on a brighter note,
I'm coming
let's
back.
eat cake.
I know, and I have to go.
Oh, Steph,
Take
you've
some
got to take
cake.
one with you.
Right, where's my phone?
Oh,
Got to take that with me.
do not read the article.
I won't read that article.
It's not ready
Right.
for consumption. But just to let you all know what we made this week, my sister did that beautiful parcel, gluten-free parcel we just had. I'm always very dubious about gluten-free pasta, because my experience is it goes a bit mushy. But this one,
Geraldine, can you put one of those in here?
Of course I can.
and she cooked it in the new Thermomix, as we said earlier. But these are, we had some spare red apples, little sweet red apples, and so we made this. It's
Right,
cross between a cupcake and a muffin.
Did you want just one?
See you later.
Or two?
Bye, darling. Thank you for your patience today.
See you, Kizzy.
Can you do one thing before you go?
Maybe.
Can you nuke those in the microwave for 30 seconds?
Oh my gosh!
She's going to have to get out otherwise again.
She's gonna have to get out in 30 seconds anyway.
Well, not really, because you can put them in 30 seconds and bring them to us. Just please. Yeah, I know.
Oh, I just wanted to read out.
Go for it.
The Mexican president's name is... And I wanted to do that because I really think that this is...
Very little coffee left.
What is coming up in the world is that, you're talking about Jacinda Ardern and as a female leader who looked at how we can lead, how you can lead compassionately.
You know what it made me think of when you were talking about that? Is the micro-macro of what Rallies was trying to do up in York. And, can we go from the micro to the macro?
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
I don't know. Now, with these little apple cuppy cake kind of muffin style, pick up what you want to... It's a dessert. It's nice to have them warmed a little bit, but they're also nice with vanilla ice cream or a little drizzle of cream. We're not doing that today. We're just going to eat them like this.
Alright,
See ya.
And I'm going to have a glass of look in because they're hitting my eyes.
laugh, love, breathe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Live, love,
Breathe,
love,
whatever.
breathe.
Bye.
So it's Claudia Sheinbaum, who was born in 1962.
Right.
So she's not a
So can
young
I eat
woman.
while I'm listening?
Of course you can.
It'll make me shut up.
I wanted to read about it, and
Okay, I'm listening.
This is what we all should be practicing, is probably talking up more of what we want to see, and it's the same in our own lives, isn't it? Talk up what you want to see more of.
Yeah, 100%.
Not to say
Sorry.
turn a blind
Just
eye
thought of
to
it.
what is actually happening. So it's good. We've had a good round discussion on what we are seeing that we don't want to see happen, how we feel about it.
Now we need
But
to talk about more.
Let's turn it around to
What do we want to see?
energetically. What do we really want to see?
What
I get so.
What do you want to see?
inspired. Well, I'm going to talk about Claudia
Okay.
because she is an energy and climate scientist,
Okay.
climate change scientist.
Okay.
And she is the first female president of Mexico.
Yep.
She's
I didn't know that about her.
She's the 60th.
She's an environmental scientist.
She's an academic.
Oh, my. I knew she was an academic, done a PhD.
Yes,
I didn't know it was
but
environmental
energy and climate
science.
change.
How did I miss that?
And so 66th president of Mexico, and she first woman to hold office. And I guess this is what I wanted to mention was she's a member of the National Regeneration Movement. And she previously served as head of government of Mexico City. So, she's been in power for a long time, and Mexico City is, oh my God. Like, I can't even imagine the scale of it. I've just seen images. I haven't been there. And,
Yeah, I've been there.
yeah. So you know the scale of it.
Well,
as
it was a long
as
time
place.
ago, but
Is
it's
it
a
the
big
biggest?
place.
Is it the biggest city? It's the most sprawling biggest city.
It's
most
not
populated.
It's not
city?
only sprawling; it's dense.
Yeah.
Dense
Most
sprawling.
densely populated city.
Actually, reminds me a little bit of India.
So Forbes ranked her. So she took office last year, and we're really only hearing about her right now because she's championing
It's nice.
the Indigenous people and people on all. She's a progressive.
And I don't speak into her enough. So thank you for bringing her up, because you're right. You're 100% right. America is currently flanked by Carney and her.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's any hope for Americans post-Trumpism, they're the ones who are going to be able to shine that light for them.
And she is ranked by Forbes as the fourth most powerful woman in the world. Well, I mean, incredible. The president of a country of the most. I'm not sure exactly what the population of Mexico is, but what is interesting to me is that I've started to follow Substack and post and
Yay!
so Kelli introduced me to Substack. And one of the writers that I started to follow is...
When do we get our first newsletter?
Oh, okay. Well, apparently I've got to do a newsletter.
that's part of her role. She got the newsletter portion of the episode of the podcasting.
No, not work.
But you do love it. You do. You said you're looking forward to writing it.
Did I? I don't remember. So funny.
I promise you.
I've got amnesia on that moment.
I swear, I'm telling the truth. Where's the Bible?
So, Elisa Valdez Rodriguez is I think she's American.
Yeah.
From New Mexico. Mexico.
Mexico?
I'm sorry to say that. That sounds quite racist, but
No, not
I
really.
think many times because that's what it sounds like to our ears.
No, but maybe the Mexicans say it that way.
Well, that's why
they appreciate us trying to say it like them.
It's not the hard Mexico. No, that's right. And she has moved from the US back to Mexico. And what she says is, I
imagine there's a lot of Mexicans in, especially California state, that are making those decisions right now.
What she says is, part of my family has been here since the 16th century, and another part of my family has been here in New Mexico for 20,000 years or something crazy like that. 20,000 years back to Mayan Aztec times.
So one of the keys here then, talking about how do we move forward, is to support our Indigenous communities wherever you live.
Grassroots organisations.
Because we ain't done that ever.
Grassroots organisation, grassroots community. So I just wanted to mention.
You're giving me hope again, Geraldine. Thank you.
Yeah.
It is where you have to start. You have to start at the ground level, and you have to start.
Yeah.
That's the only way you can. You have to build from the ground up. It might take a century, but
I'm going to have a bite and
tell me what you think.
See what it's like. I love things with apple in it. Bit of a winner for me.
What do you think?
It was great.
I probably would have put an extra layer of sugar on top and just got the good old, I want to call it a Bunsen burner, but it's never that, blowtorch, just to crystallise it a little.
Yep. Yeah.
And you need that crunch.
Well, Kelli, you're a bit like my auntie. Shout out to my auntie Georgie, who's an amazing cake maker. And like you, my auntie never makes anything that doesn't taste great.
Yeah,
so,
but you still have to. You've got
she
that
finesses.
self-criticising thing because you go.
She finesses.
Because I know. Well, look, the sugar on there has now dissolved from yesterday, so we really should have topped it up today and just given it a quick blowtorch job before serving. Well, that sounded a bit bad, didn't it?
I don't know what she means.
I'm so glad right now that you don't know what I mean, Geraldine. I just think it would have. But I was, and it needs even a bit warmer than this, probably because it was a whole plate. But anyway, as I said earlier, you can have this one with a scoop of homemade ice cream,
or cream,
nice, or just some, we call it thickening cream, but other people call it whipping cream or whatever, but. Not cream out of a can. Drizzle cream. Thickening cream. Thickening cream.
Thickened cream?
Thickening
Whipped cream?
No, not whipped cream.
No?
Not whipped cream.
Okay.
Definitely not whipped cream.
Okay.
You need the pouring sort of cream.
Okay.
Let's call it pouring.
Pouring cream. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Because then doesn't matter what you call it in your countries. Your own country. Everyone knows what pouring cream is, right?
Yes. Yeah. I hope so.
I mean,
let us know if you don't know what we're talking about. Reading out some poetry.
Yes, please. Let's do that.
Yeah.
But do you feel like you covered what you wanted to say with Gaza and everything that you were speaking to earlier?
Well, we were talking about hope and that fluctuating sense of hope. And yes, the situation in Gaza is extremely dire. And as humans, I've told you Khalil Gibran is one of my favourite poets, and he's, he
wants a hug.
Oh, no. Speaking of compassion.
Yeah.
So he's a Lebanese-American writer, born in Mount Lebanon. And it's a book I found when I was, probably, my early 20s. The Prophet, which was in the 1920s, would have come out. But, it's incredible wisdom, and I find that a lot of incredible wisdom in poetry, And actually, a shout out because the Perth Poetry Festival's just finished.
Oh, yeah, it is too. Yeah.
So
Yeah, there's postings. I've been reading a few of the postings.
Yeah, we're blessed with many great writers in WA.
We did for a small, well, we're not a small state, we're a large state land-wise, but we're a small population, kind of, it just gone over 2 million or something, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just talking to someone about this because we did have the so-called anti-immigration rallies across Australia.
Yeah, well, I spoke about that earlier when you were at the loo, I think. Yeah,
or a bit earlier than that. But I guess, and somebody I know was saying, well, there is obviously a lot of problems, and there were people there who were there in earnest because of housing crisis.
Yes.
Yeah. But the reality is, don't get your news from Sky News because they're not. They're not all Nazis. Well, no, it's not just that. It's that Sky News inflates problems.
Yeah.
And they also do not.
Sky News is our version of Fox News, guys. It's the same.
Yeah.
It's the same Murdoch family that own it. Yeah.
And they also don't publish the truth. They don't.
No, never.
There's no truth. There's
do you remember
and they
the days when we
don't
used to
even give a background story to.
But do you remember when Sky News was part of Foxtel?
Yeah.
It was never on normal TV or on YouTube or any of those things. Yeah. And we used to, can I say piss all over it? We used to take the mickey out of it all the time.
Yeah.
We fully used to take the mickey out of it because it reminded us of the tabloids in UK.
Well, that's right. It is tabloid.
It is tabloid news. It is tabloid news. It developed from a tabloid space.
Yeah.
And then they kind of got a bit of traction because of Fox News.
So what I was going to say about that is...
Sorry.
Kelly likes to...
I don't know when to stop. Very bad habit of mine. I'm sorry.
That's
I
right.
apologise.
You've got a lot to say.
Maybe too much to say.
But I think the realities of any problem not being, then basically not being properly addressed, and they're not fed to people, and people really should be filtering a lot more of their news, basically. But as far as housing going...
Do you reckon there's a portion of Australian people in Australia that only watch Sky News? Like a portion of people in America only watch Fox News?
Yes.
That's where they get all of their source of information? You think we've got that here?
I absolutely do, because I know I was working in the disability sector for a long time, and I know there was a lot of
That's how I ended up being friends with her.
Yeah, that's where we connect. And I know a lot of internationals, and that is their... Fox News was their go-to because it was something that they could get news from wherever they were in the world, and they're coming here. Sky News sort of translated somehow to well, it is. It's not that dissimilar. But what I was going to say about that is social. The housing crisis is nothing to do with immigration. Almost nothing to do with immigration, and.
100%.
Yeah, the reality
100%.
is that governments haven't invested, and they have been. I'm going out on a limb now. They've invested in the 30 years I've been watching that space. They've been subsidising developers, and we now in Australia have developers. I'm not demonising developers, but they have taken a lot of money.
I'd be happy to demonise a few of them, even though one of them is my best friend.
Yeah, look, but they have taken a lot of government money.
And whenever they promise cheaper housing within these blocks, and I think where Geraldine's going, it never comes to fruition.
No,
by the time they put it on the market to sell it, it's at normal, normal rates, sort of thing. So it puts the people who are, difficult. Are finding it difficult financially to get into even a rental property, let alone purchase a property. These so-called, like out of the 1,000 apartments that they're going to build in Melbourne, for example, behind the Victorian markets. Did you hear about that?
Yeah.
And they're going to turn the car park into a park, which is fine, and they're doing a car park underneath. I actually think it's going to do well for the markets. So I think I used to run markets and festivals and things, so I know how it all operates, and the storeholders can always look to the negative first. But look, they're not losing car parking bays, but what they will gain is the people who live in those 1,000 apartments will be in walking distance to the market. So that's not the issue. The issue is
affordable housing.
Affordable housing. So within that 1,000 apartments, they've allocated, I think he was saying 160 apartments to lower income families to make it affordable for them to be able to either rent or buy. But the truth is, they've said this many times before in many developments of this kind across Australia, so it's not just state
becomes lip service
wide. It's 100% lip service, because by the time it gets to the development finished and they're selling those apartments, they're selling them at the normal full rate, which those who are struggling in the first place economically will not be able to afford it. That was the whole point of the first. Anyway, it's one of those
reason that were, people cited that they rallied on the weekend was, there was probably many reasons, but one of them was that immigrants are taking their jobs. I also have worked in industries where there's jobs that no Australians
that's exactly, it's the same old story, isn't it?
Everybody that's filling those positions,
it's a myth.
It is a myth.
Yeah, because it's the same thing that's happening in America. They're sending all the Mexicans back to Mexico or wherever they're sending them, right? Whoops. And then Trump, does a taco again and sort of, says, oh, no, we can't take them away from our farmers. They need them.
But I guess that's what I was trying to say to you earlier, and this is why I was getting sort of a bit sort of agitated about us looking at America, because I can see it happening much here, where we have, we've had Pauline Hanson in for way too long.
Oh, she was
Bob
out
Catter,
there.
Bob Catter leading the go, and Bob Catter denying.
But did you see
and
her
getting upset
doing the protest with them in
I knew
Queensland?
that she led the march.
Yeah,
and I know Bob Catter was in there after getting agitated.
Pauline Hanson was many years ago our cautionary tale. She's still a senator but at one stage she was the leader of the One Nation Party, which was a new party that was created, which was kind of extreme right, and she's a lot she's like a female version of Trump without the extreme heinous kind of but her ideas about how Australia should operate as a society is.
Please explain, Kelly.
Oh my God, exactly. That was a very famous in an interview with 60 Minutes that she sat there and she said, please explain.
Well, because they said, are you
put it this way, not that there's anything wrong with this, but prior to getting into politics, she had been the owner of a fish and chip shop. That was her experience.
Yeah, and that's right. She's a people's person. I don't know, but I was.
But again, people liked her. People voted for her, and she's still a senator. She's still around all these years later
to go into prison, and then somehow she's got back in. She's very much like Trump.
Exactly like. That's why I keep saying she was our cautionary tale. Thank God we got rid of her before she made it to being prime minister in the new party. The new party never took off, really. It went through so many different forms of. And a lot of corruption stuff. But in small scale. But Trump got away with it. She didn't. That was the difference.
Yes, and also it was very much televised and now memeised. Bob Catter saying, denying his Lebanese heritage and telling someone that he punches a journalist, that he punches people in the mouth for saying things like that because the journalist asked about his Lebanese heritage. So, and there's context to that his sister had gone on, in an interview publicly talking about their Lebanese heritage.
There's no one in Australia, if you're not Indigenous, you've got a heritage from another country, trust me.
We're all immigrants.
We are all immigrants.
So, yes, and also, but I think that speaks into people losing faith in governments and and taking a small part of something that I guess that a little tiny bit of truth and a little tiny bit of substance, and taking something wholeheartedly, which is kind of like the Trumpism, that people wanted change. Yeah. So they asked for Trump, and they wanted, it's not the change that they wanted.
Well, I think that's the other problem that we're confronted with, and that still exists because from that Four Corners show post. They did 2 shows, so that was part B. Before the elections, they went round and interviewed some of these people they went to revisit this time. Would you still vote? And most of them said yes, right?
Was it Four Corners or Foreign Correspondent? I think it was Foreign Correspondent. Yeah, that's right.
Sorry.
Just checking.
But yeah, they did a part A and part B is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, that's right.
And so it was a catch-up post-election and post-tariffs, all that sort of thing. I think there was only one of the Australians who's now, that most of the Australians they were talking to are American citizens, therefore had the right to vote and did vote. But, And I think there was only one that said, maybe I wouldn't vote for him this time around because what's happening. The rest still said with everything, no, I would still vote for him again. And that's unfortunately, because it's in a cold. They're not actually voting for a politician to run the country. They're voting for someone who thinks they're going to save. They want to be saved by someone, right?
Yep.
And that's religion. Sorry, that's religion.
Yeah.
That's not politics. That's religion.
And maybe they're not suffering enough. I don't wish suffering upon them.
Or they're suffering in denial about
suffering
it.
in denial, yeah. Okay.
You know, so I think that's probably closer to the truth.
Yeah.
And again, that's very occult-like kind of thinking. That no matter how much evidence you present to these people, they're so invested in their truth and being right. I was right all along. I mean, you know, the classic. You know what I wanted to do today? I was trying to look for a baseball cap. I haven't had, you know, we don't really do baseball caps here, but I thought, do I have a baseball cap anywhere? Because I wanted to write on it, Kelli was right all along. You know why? Because that's what Trump's walking around with at the moment.
Oh, no.
Trump was right about everything all along.
Oh.
Something similar to that. I don't know if it's the exact words, but... And I just went...
It's not a good acronym, so what...
No, but I wanted to, as a protest, I wanted to write in big writing on a baseball cap, you know, just to mimic him in the same way, I guess that.
No, it's not a good acronym. It doesn't matter what.
No, not like not like Magda that could translate as make America great again, and then people would hear and heard it make Australia great again. Yeah, like that. That's. One that crosses the borders, isn't it? But no, it was more just me taking the mickey out of his need to be wearing around a hat made in China. They're still made in China, like the MAGA hats, saying, it is literally the opposite to the truth. Literally the opposite. I love I don't know whether you've ever watched Pivot.
No.
Okay, you've got to watch it. It's a podcast. It's great. Kara Swifter, who's been a journalist mostly in the IT world kind of thing, Silicon Valley, and knows them all sort of thing. And she podcasts with, what's his name again? Oh my God, so sorry. Scott? Is it Scott? Someone? Anyway, he's a bit of a finance guru guy. And that is a really good, he's a little left of centre. I think he would have made a great artist actually. And she's just amazing wisdom, what we would call kitchen table wisdom that is very doable. Her way of seeing, I think, is very much in alignment with the way we see. So you've got to watch her. And she now I've lost the train of thought, but she was saying something. Oh, she says repeatedly, whatever the Trump administration, in our case we like to call him F47 administration.
And why do we call him F47, Kel?
Well, you put whatever word in after the F word, but it could be Fallon 47. It started because I didn't want to say the word Trump, but I've kind of got over that now. But I started off with Fallon 47. I used to say presidential apprentice. Because he used to that Apprentice show, apprentice presidential F47 Fallon 47, right? And then it got shortened down to F47. Everybody knew what I was talking about. So I still say it sometimes, but mostly I've got over it because nobody cares that he was a Fallon. They still put him in power and they still support him. But she says it constantly, actually, almost, in most of her podcasts, she talks about, you have to just remember whatever these people are telling you that the opposition is doing is the very thing that they're either doing or planning to do. Because that's what autocratic kind of mindsets do. They first blame and shame somebody else for doing the very thing they're doing themselves or that they're looking to do.
What's that word? Gaslighting is.
It's gaslighting.
It's been in our.
It's gatekeeping and gaslighting together, really.
Yes, yep.
Really, in a strange sort of way.
Yep.
You could almost put those two in the same bag.
Yeah.
On this issue,
it's not used as much as the gaslighting has come.
Well, the gatekeeping is
like,
the gatekeeping for me is if we gatekeep you from the actual truth.
Yeah.
and we're constant in that,
Yeah.
then it's far easier to spread the propaganda and have people believe it. Right?
Well, that's what Alyssa...
Which is the gaslighting.
Her most recent writing, Alyssa Valdez Rodriguez, and I haven't read it yet, but basically she says, what if the Epstein files are the distraction?
Did you see? It is
I think
100%
it is the distraction.
Of course he's using... But now...
I love that she's putting that proposal
Yes.
to us.
Yes, but what's happened now
to think about
is it's gone so far on the other side of that the victims are now standing up and so, you know how I did that little thing about, Giuffre, and I said, look, not everybody survives it, and it was very raw at that time because I think she'd only checked out maybe about 4 weeks before or something of me writing that article and speaking about it on the podcast. And of course we're always operating 2 weeks in advance, like by the time it came out it sort of had calmed down. But what hadn't calmed down is people's interest in this list. And I was angry about that. I said, it's not about the details. It's not about the details, guys. It's just not about the details. And you're not thinking about the victim's response to this because it can re-trigger them, right? It's a fragile situation for them. And anyway, I watched on this morning's news that they were gathering together and gave a little bit of a outdoor sort of, not press conference, but, just a little, media chat, we'll call it. And they were saying, if you guys are so determined to get the list, you will get that list from us.
Yes.
You will not get it from the Trump administration. You will not get it from...
Just go direct.
If you want to know... So they're going to put together a list of people they know because they are the ones who were the victims of these people, and they're not going to be... It doesn't matter to them whether they're Democrats or Republicans or whoever they are. They don't care. It's not public knowledge at the moment. That's the whole point. That's why they keep asking for the client list, right? Because the Trump administration promised as part of their election to release that.
Well, maybe it's not.
And so the MAGA people are saying, where's the list? And then they're sort of backing off on it now because Pam Bondi, I reckon Pam Bondi, when she started watching all the videos and going through it, she found some damning evidence against Trump. And if they don't release the list at all, hence why he's doing the current negotiation with... Because the only person that knows the truth is Maxwell. Well, right? They sent her to a... He moved to... Went in, he's one of Trump's ex-lawyers, went and interviewed her, who's now like a consultant of some kind, went and interviewed her, and you hear a bit of that interview. And then they moved her to a prison that is like... minimum security, close to the border, Texan border, by the way. I don't know. But I'm very glad that finally the victims spoke out and said, listen to us, what we have to say. We know the truth. Which I think is a good thing. But it would be also nice if those people who do have copies of those pictures or video, even though by court they're bound not to talk about them or release them. Can we find a whistleblower, please, that's willing to, release any information that they might have and evidence of that? Can you just do that if you have it? If you're, just be a whistleblower, please.
Julian, can you get on Wikipedia?
Yeah, I don't know whether Julian. I don't know. There was a bit of stuff that when there was chance that he'd end up in the American prisons, and Trump's first administration, he was talking about giving him a pardon.
Julian Assange.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's probably because he's got the dirt.
Yeah, probably, but I'm saying it's not a good look. I don't know. I like Assange, you know that. And everything, what happened to him should never have happened. It sets a precedent for more of that to happen. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that...
He was a catalyst.
I don't know that the victims would care for him to be the whistleblower in this case.
Okay, you may know a little bit more
than
I do.
Yes.
Well, we're about to wrap up.
Yeah.
But I just found it interesting. Khalil Gibran on forgiveness. One thing he said, men who do not forgive women their little faults will never enjoy their great virtues. And that could translate to women who do not forgive men their little faults will never enjoy their great virtues.
Yes. I like...
And...
So this poem that you picked this week, this reading,
I just wanted to speak a little bit about my very talented and very good friend, Tineka van der Eecken,
Yep.
who is a writer, poet, visual artist, and a great inspirator. So shout out to Tineka.
Yeah, and let's put her at the end of this podcast in. I'll put some photos if she's got any video footage of her work. And also, of course, post her writings.
Yeah. She's pretty prolific.
May I have a
She's
look?
quite incredible. So she had 2 touring exhibitions in WA last year, not just one, but 2. This
Okay,
one was
I'm feeling even more ineffective now as an artist.
Look, that's, you just got to do what you got to do.
I'm not prolific and never have been. I kind of come from the philosophy if I don't have something to say, I'm probably not going to be driven to do the work. But there are artists who I absolutely admire, and like your friend Haynes, as a
Richard
writer,
Haynes,
Richard Haynes, and he writes every day, and I'm like, how? I don't know how you do that.
This is just one of the catalogues to one of her exhibitions, Concurrencies,
This one
last year. Yes, and
So
tributaries.
visual artist, is she mostly doing jewellery?
Does she started as a jeweller and she was a writer, and she's from Belgium born and lived in
Belgium, of course she
Zambia
is.
for 10 years and then came to Australia, and I met her fairly soon after she came to Australia. Her daughter came into one of my art classes.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, and that's when I felt that mutuality. I love her writing.
There's a real deft hand to her work, isn't there?
Oh yes, she's quite incredible. So yes, we'll put a link to Tineka's
I didn't know her work.
website.
This is the first time I'm seeing her work. So.
Well,
I knew her name, but I didn't know her work because it's
quite
out of
often I'm
my...
wearing some of her jewellery somewhere.
I can see how it would fit into Stitches and Bitches kind of storylines, but for me, it's outside of my kind of world. In the world of installation art.
She's working
and
on a
performance
project
art.
with Murdoch at the moment, a science art
Oh,
project.
how interesting.
She really does love
Murdoch
that
University
sort
or
of
Murdoch himself?
Murdoch University.
Thank God. Go, girl.
Okay. And All You See
More
Is
jewellery.
Bone is the title. I wonder if Kelli can be quiet while she shows you the pictures.
Okay, I'll just show it in silence. I don't know how to do that, but I'll give it a go.
Let's see. Everyone putting their timer on? I am the curator of this archived land. Its cast pillars, burnt bone ash. Its washed walls, crushed bone dust. Its etched floor, Carnaby's shadow. When there were wetlands, a mopoke taught you to be one with the trees. Look out of its eyes. We're down to what's countable. Reminder, remainder, remnant. How many ways can a bulldozer move the earth? And I ask you the only question you will ever need to answer. Did you anchor yourself to the skeletons of resistance? I don't know why, it's just made me really emotional. I think I was already a bit emotional.
Yeah, I think we're both been a bit emotional today, Geraldine.
I'm going to start it again, okay? Because I don't want to read it out with tears.
Okay, you take a moment.
But maybe I'm emotional because I feel some ending.
Happening?
Yeah.
In what way, love?
I just feel... I can't put words to it, but I feel it.
Look, that could be the shift that we've just gone through since a month ago. There's been, I think, a ginormous shift on a planetary level in spirit form, and that both...
Trying to find a tissue. Really,
here.
No, I've got one.
You
Thank
sure?
you.
Okay. Oh, look, there's so much, even just Stephanie's music on her friend today has played into all that, really, hasn't it? But I do think...
Yeah, I think it...
No, I know what you're saying.
It's not just on the
by the way,
micro
I finally got to
level.
speak to Lois last night.
Yes.
And so communication is almost impossible. Almost. She lost her phone. She got a new phone. And for the first time... And she sent videos and stuff of what she's doing. And she sent it to my sister, thank God, as well. Because Jodie got it, but I didn't. I don't know, it's because my phone's obsolete. As apparently, according to Apple. And finally... Last night, after trying, and every time we get through, the phone would, we couldn't hear each other, or it would just log off. And she's saying, and she was talking about exactly the same thing you're talking about now. She said, "I feel
not just on a personal level.
Global, definitely." And she was saying she's out on a station that's pretty isolated, and she was feeling it out there. And she was saying, that she couldn't quite put her finger on it, but she just felt the change, and she that was both a grieving process of what was once and what is coming, whilst she sees it as exciting and a blessing, and me too, and sounds like you too. There is also grieving. There is going to be that grieving process for all of humanity, to grieve what we have lived in since the day we were born. We haven't known anything else other than what it is at the moment, but that's
probably why
changing at a rate of knots. So with that comes hope for the future of something different. You know, I mean, obviously the old system has to be broken down before a new one can be built. So you're bringing my hope back, thank you. But it also is scary because we don't know what's coming, and so there's a grieving process of familiarity that we're losing. Nothing is familiar anymore. Everything's unprecedented. We don't know where it's going, not really how it plays. I don't even know that we can even think about how it could possibly play out. You know, I don't think that. I think everything, because it's quicksand, it's not set in stone anymore.
Yeah.
There's not even little markers along the way that you can say, these are the three possibilities that it could go this way, or this way. I don't even think that exists. I don't think any of us know.
I think
what's going to play out.
Yes.
And so there's a grieving process.
I agree.
With that.
I can't quite put words to it, and it might be one of the reasons why we're sitting here talking this in front of, you know, an audience.
Yeah.
Maybe to try to put some words to it.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not necessary because it's really.
No, I don't think there is. Well, that's pretty much what Lois was saying
way.
last night, and I agree with her. Because, you know, we're all lovers of language, in particular Geraldine, you know, I mean, you're a deep lover of language, and so is Lois, actually. I am a lover of language, but I don't think I'm as invested in language as what you guys are. And with that comes the grieving...
very much about ideas, invested.
Yeah, concepts and ideas and theories and stuff, and also I love mainstream. You know, I'm not, just because I'm an artist and kind of working probably the least mainstream version of art, right? Although installation art is making its way into the entertainment industry, but I don't agree with that because that's
art.
Yeah, I mean, it becomes it's sort of you know, Duchamp was the conceptual grandfather of art, and then and I was heavily invested in data as well. That led me to do the art I do now, and I work with other artists. You know, it's not that accessible. It's not the only people who are interested in the art that we do it. Are those of us who've gathered in. The 4,000 followers we have on Facebook are all artists and performance artists and musicians who are invested in that style of thinking. That sort of now with AI and electronics is moving into, and you know, drones and all that, sort of into an entertainment space. So the youth coming through now that are embracing the idea of performance art or installation art is a very, very different looking thing. And my concern with that is it moves too much into an entertainment space rather than a thinking, singular, kind of independent thinking of what you're seeing and your experience of that and how you interpret that. But anyway, we'll see how it plays out. But these things happen. You know, that's the movement within art kind of movements. They morph into something else. And especially looking at mainstream, because that's the majority of the population. So that's why I was speaking to mainstream and why I like my connection with mainstream and why I have always been and felt connected to mainstream. Is that, what am I trying to say? Words are not enough anymore. It's like sitting on the mountaintop's not an option anymore. You've got to come down from the mountaintop. You've got to get off your high horse, which essentially means, which is, you know, Lois and I speak about this, the only time we end up going down the wrong tracks or get ourselves into trouble, if you like, is the minute that we try and own the space and that language gets in the way and therefore we get in our own way via language. You can get in your own way. So maybe the grieving process that you're feeling, and this is the conversation I was having with Lois last night, is the loss of that language, because it's impossible. The minute that we have an opinion, we're in judgment. That's the truth. You cannot have an opinion without being in judgment. And so truly to move beyond that into a space of forgiveness and therefore a space of the possibility of creating a new way of seeing and thinking and being is you first have to get out of your own way. And within that, even it's a grieving process. It's a grieving process because you're letting go of that part that you've always trusted. And what have we trusted? What have we invested in? The language of art, the language of word, you know, the power of words, right? and we loved them, you know. So it's really hard to let that go and know that no longer is enough. Not that it's not still important and powerful, but it's no longer enough. There has to be something more than just that. I don't know what the more is, but I know that's the direction humanity has to take if we're going to be better at the end of all this, be better as a race of beings, you know.
I always think it's not, you know, don't ask, and it's a, you know, famous saying, don't ask why this is happening to me, ask what can I learn from this.
Yeah.
And I guess that learning, and thank you actually, Cal, because that was,
it's a great
I just
process.
went through a fairly profound sort of,
just
my
like
body,
you know, it's so
just
interesting
went,
because I said that to Stephanie at the park on Tuesday. You know, because she was talking about the marriage stuff, and she got a phone call or got that email, and she got ad talking again. I said, don't buy back into that. What you're actually really experiencing is grief, because even though the situation that you were in was abusive and you put up with that abuse, sometimes we become so, at least we know abuse. We know how that plays out and what we need to do to move forward or to rise above it or whatever. So what happens when that gets removed, and a new kind of commitment and responsibility has to be taken on.
I'm working to create corrosion casts of sea creatures. I'm working in metal, some textile techniques, and corrosion casting, which sits on the verge of science and art. Being here as a resident at Merle in Exmouth has really enabled me to apply the method of corrosion casting myself to test out how the color works, you know, as an artist, not as a scientist. I've also had the opportunity to talk to and learn from Indigenous owners here. That was incredibly also about sea snakes, a lot of it.